Hello there guys, so I thought I would record my Winter Solstice slash Yule, if you like, altar space, and working altar space really. As I did for Samhain, I've kept it on a 3-tiered level. By the window, I can sit down here, I can work down here, and as I mentioned in the Samhain video, the two big altar spaces have kind of been taken over by Morrigan. So you've got her main altar, and it's next to her altar is where the other one used to be situated, but because that feels very much like her space, she's kind of taken over, kind of left it to, I'm like, yep, you can have it, we'll move it over here. But saying that, this is now pretty much her space as well, so I guess that was to be anticipated. So the festivities become sort of celebrating her and then incorporating parts of the perhaps more traditional solstices or sabbats or even esbats into Morrigan practice, and the way that I sort of link the two together, mesh the two together with an energetic link. So I'm going to actually start down here, which is a little array of things which are going to be used for the solstice. So I have the Shadow Weaver Banishing twisty candle that I got while I was in Nottingham, as well as you can see over here the reversing one, some birch bark, a little offering dish. This is actually the Morrigan, well, I say Morrigan, it was from the Spooky box, but it's for the Morrigan, and it's actually a tea strainer. It's sort of gothic in theme and scully, and I actually use it for her. So what actually gets done is pop some herbs or one of my herbal blends or something in there, and then that's an infusion. So I do it for infusion work. I might make a video and talk about that a little bit more because it's an interesting thing. And then this is this absolutely gorgeous necklace, Bones and Claw, which came super quickly, and I was really pleased, and it kind of confirmed my theme for Winter Solstice for me. So the theme is bone birch, and is a incorporation of bone work. Now there isn't, well actually there is one on the top level, but the other bones and bits aren't out because they will only be out for the solstice, and it's kind of a more private personal thing, and some people get the squicks anyway when they see bones on things. So there you go. And I've actually sort of created my own votives for these. I'm going to put these on the store afterwards as well, because I really like them. And let's see. There you go. Can you see that lovely shimmy? Shimmy, 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 shimmy. So bone birch votive, combining bone witch magic death with silver birch magic birth for the pause between rebirth. Quiet contemplation of winter, stillness, meditation, to take stock of the lessons and to begin anew. There is a strong Bave crone energy here. I consider Bave to be the Bone Queen. That's something that already exists in my practice and on the store, and the Bone Queen is very much how I feel about Bave. There's a deathliness, but it's kind of this eerie beauty, and I find her incredibly beautiful, even if she shows up half skeletal or with sort of clad in bones and things. She does that a lot. So I find that interesting, and that's a part of my Morriganic practice, particularly in winter. And I was thinking about incorporating birch for a number of reasons. The month of birch starts on the 24th of December, so I felt that it was good that we were kind of banishing 2016, as we've already talked about, with kind of the reversing candles and things, and then really going for 2017 full gusto for that birth, that rebirth, that new beginning. And I've been kind of surrounded by silver birch imagery of late. I associate it with Bave as well. There's some poetry of mine that is on the blog, which is linked below, and it talks about Bave in terms of birch wizened and how the connection is there for me in the forefront of my mind with her crone-esque energy. It's very rebirth, very death, very in the space, and very sacred as far as I'm concerned. So this down here is the main part of the working altar, and as you can see we actually have the another spooky box goodie, same box I believe, and this was a scarf, and it's got the kind of, if I move my candle, it's got skulls and sort of crystals, but they're kind of drawn in kind of like your sketching geometric pattern, geographical art, you know, thick lines and not much detailing, and I really love that. And we also have moths, so I feel that moth energy is quite Baeve-esque. Again, this is something which is not stereotypically given as one of her creatures, but it is something that over the course of my practice I've come to feel that really does associate, as far as I'm concerned, with Baeve. Moths have had very strong imagery and connection for me to that element, and I have a whole video on it, and it's not the only moth on this altar, so there you go. So down here, as we talked about in a Hawley video, is the gorgeous silver birch altar tile, which is lunar roots, and has this connection between the roots, which are paragraphed in, and they are silver birch, and the tile itself is silver birch, and then moon phases, and it kind of gives a almost dark moon phase energy to it, with perhaps the whole thing being the full moon. So it kind of covers both angles, which I like. Death and rebirth and birth energies all kind of covered here. And then down the bottom I have 3 rainbow moonstones. So rainbow moonstone is gorgeous. It's my favourite moonstone. I love the blue sheen. There is a blue sheen throughout because you have your kind of your blue sheen. It's probably not going to pick up because the lighting is typical for this time of year, even if the weather is not, which is very super grey. But there is a blue sheen throughout there, and as hopefully you can see on the candle, that there is a blue sheen there. There we go. And so it is a goddess connection. It's very much about moon magic, the mysteries, the high priestess, that connection to the cycles and the combining of that cyclic nature of things with the goddess energy, and that's why I wanted it here, along with 3 of the traditional white Christmas tree little, well, they're technically candles, but I don't use them as candles, I have them as kind of ornaments here. And then there is 3 hagstones. These were all gifted. These were an absolutely amazing gift from a little while back, and there are 3 of them. So there is 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Hagstones, they're meant to be divinational tools. They're meant to be curious rocks. Rocks that basically have naturally formed holes in them, usually from riverbeds. Sometimes you can get them at the sea and things like that. And you're supposed to be able to peer through them, and it pierces the veil that you can see beyond the void, and it kind of has that doorway energy to it, that gateway, that connection between this realm and the other realm. It has that otherworldly feel to it. Over here we have a silver birch. It's technically called an athame, but I feel more like it's a wand with the flower of life symbol on there. It's also a Celtic symbol, quite frequently associated. I don't know if it's a modern association of this symbol with Anam Cara, but it is associated with that now. Over here we have my little unicorn wish plate. This was in the sale and was £2, and I was like, oh my god, look how cute it is. But what I'm actually using it for is a wish plate, so I'm going to write wishes on, leading up to and possibly following a little bit of the Winter Solstice into little scrolls and place them all around here, and then burn and release them. Possibly burn and release them as we actually enter into January, so it kind of moves us through. At the back here we have... The stand itself is silver birch that my sister, I'm going to have to move because of how the lighting is, a piece of silver birch that my sister found for me in Sherwood Forest and sent for me. And then the selenite in a whole piece of silver birch, which is actually a gift from the universe when I first moved here, and it was whole and complete, and I've kept it ever since. And then on either side is some titanium aqua quartz globes. So there is the dark blue one and the white one, and they kind of represent the dark half and the light half of the year, the two sides, life and death, and it really has that nice, almost void-like energy to them. They're very seer stones. They're very akin to how the hagstones feel, but they're kind of on a crystal level, so they're kind of similar but not the same. The hagstones have a little bit more of a water element to them, obviously, as they have been shaped by water, and that's good for the hagstones because that means it takes it back to that water being between worlds energy, whereas the crystal's a little bit more earthy. And then we have two images here. Both have foxes on, so we're bringing a little bit of foxy energy into this. This one actually has silver birch in it completely, and a beautiful figure there. Not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily say that was more organic. I would maybe a little bit more priestessy, but there you go. And then this is my favourite Yule card from this year, from Miss Jen, and look how pretty. I couldn't not have it, and it kind of had a nice symmetry then, because that's one. This one's maybe a little masculine, this one's maybe a little feminine. Maybe we've got both kind of represented there. So then we have kind of like the middle bit, which is basically the radiator. But I do have two. I have a crow and a magpie from Miss Beth Wildwood's beautiful collection of art, which is incredible. My unicorn from Molly with your goddamn unicorn on it. So we have two unicorn. We have some unicorn symmetry going on, and the little voodoos and crow things which are always there. And I actually brought these three little guys out from the Halloween box because of Cora. Cora had some of these out, and I was like, oh, I need mine out. They're so good, they're so fun, I need them out. And you know, they kind of have a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe to them, so it kind of works, and I don't really care if it doesn't work because I want them up here, so there. And then up the top I've kept some bits from Samhain. I've decided to leave the large skull candle as kind of like an offering thing, and I've been burning the smaller ones rather than the big one. So the big one is like almost like a statuette. These two crow skulls that you see before you are actually polyresin cast from skulls. They are not skulls. The bone, I do have bones of crow skulls, but they're off camera, they're more private. These are more decorative, obviously. They're not fetishes in particular. They are just far more decorative because they're polyresin, so, you know. But I like the symbolism, I like the intergalactic one particularly. They both have a little amethyst in there, embedded in the skull, third eye kind of magic. On either side we have the goose feather, the black goose feather, as aforementioned in the skull in the, no, I'm looking at skulls and thinking that's not what I meant. In the whole video. And then some graveyard dirt from a very old graveyard in Wales from the lovely Miss Autumn. And then we have again the gateway of the two white pillar candles in a jar, which do get burnt, and the Morrigan. And now we've got dogs barking. Of course we do, because I've recorded a video. The Morrigan statuette down there. Another Morrigan statuette here with two crystal skulls and one of the crow votives over there, and there's a crow votive over there. They're from Ember. And then there is the Morriganic image that Molly sent for me, and the crow plaque from Everin, which I keep on here at all times. And then this is a collection of rebirth items, including some bones in there, so I said there were some bones in there. And I've actually kept the crow with the white pumpkin over there, and then there's the Nevermore one over there, because I love them, so they stay there. And then we have, he's a stag. He's a stag for more traditional energies, and I thought, you know, I love him, he can stay there. And then I said there was another moth, and it's the one that Molly sent, and there it is. And then last but not least, in the centre here, hanging down, is a witch charm that I created, and then the little charms and antler piece that hang there for the Morrigan. So yeah, there we go. That is my Winter Solstice altar space. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The candles will be available soon, well, replicas, these two are mine, and that's it for this video. Many blessings.